At this stage, most parents feel one of two things. Either, I finally feel like I have some control, or I wish I'd known this earlier. Both reactions are completely normal because now we move on to the final steps in protecting your child externally. Once the internal work's been done, and this is where many parents accidentally undo the progress they've just made, not because they don't care, but because escalation is often emotional. So, step 5 is to produce evidence. Let's be very clear about something. Escalation is sometimes necessary. This is not about telling children to handle everything on their own. It's about how escalation is actually done. Schools don't respond well to emotion. They respond to structure, and they need clarity. They need facts. They need timelines. And this is where evidence matters. Evidence turns your child's experience from he said, she said, into here is a documented pattern. That is a very powerful tool that schools cannot ignore. Now, the tool we use is very simple with this. It's the 5 W's. Who was involved? What was said or done? When it happened? Where it happened? Witnesses, if there were any. That's it. No interpretation, no emotion, no adjectives, just facts. As hard as it is, just focus on writing down the facts. This is 2 important things. First, it gives your child a sense of control. Instead of feeling overwhelmed, they're going to feel like they're organizing the experience. That alone can actually reduce their anxiety. The second is it changes how adults respond. Teachers are forced to engage differently when patterns are documented. Now, parents often worry, won't this just make my child relive it all? Only if it's done emotionally. If it's done calmly, briefly, and consistently, it actually becomes empowering. So, I recommend a notebook. 1 notebook. Short entries, no over discussion. It's not a diary, it's not therapy, it's a log. Now let's talk about when to actually escalate, because this is really important. You escalate after internal skills are being trained, when patterns continue, when safety is at risk. You don't escalate from panic, and you don't escalate from you escalate from preparation. When you speak to a school, your tone matters more than your words. You're not asking them to fix your child's feelings. You're presenting a pattern, and you say, this is what has been happening in school. This is how often, and this is what we've done to support our child. This is what we're asking for. Clear, calm, collaborative. Schools are far more responsive to this approach, and I've worked with over 100 schools in the situation of bullying, so I know exactly how schools deal with this. You can't outsource your child's confidence to a school. Schools can help manage behavior, but they can't rebuild identity. That part happens elsewhere, which brings us to the final step. Step 6, persevere. Bullying doesn't end in a moment. It ends over time, through repetition, through reinforcement, through environment. And this is where community becomes critical. Every child needs at least one environment where they feel competent, where effort is rewarded, where progress is visible, and challenges are structured. And this environment acts as a counterweight. Put it this way, if school is where confidence is being tested, then there must be somewhere confidence is being built. You can't rely on schools to do everything. Now, this could be martial arts. Now, the reason I focus on martial arts all my life is because I've seen how impactful and powerful martial arts can be as an empowerment tool to help children through bullying. But it could be other sports, it could be music, it could be theatre, it could be climbing, it could be scouting, it could be leadership groups. The activity matters less than the culture of the actual organisation. So ask these questions. Does this environment demand effort? Does it reward consistency? Does it build courage? Does it develop emotional control? And if the answer is yes, you're on the right track. One of the reasons I love martial arts, like I said, is because it's so effective at not just teaching a child to fight and defend themselves physically, but actually it's identity. Children are learning, I can do hard things. I can stay calm under pressure. I can progress through effort. Now, those lessons transfer everywhere else in their life. Now, here's something that parents often miss. Confidence doesn't grow in comfort. It grows in managed discomfort. Too much stress breaks children. Too little stress weakens them. Your job as a parent is to find the middle. This is why perseverance matters. Not quitting environments too quickly, not switching constantly, not avoiding challenge. Consistency builds resilience. Now, let me say something really important. If your child is currently in the middle of bullying, this will feel slow. You'll want immediate relief. But the goal is not quick fixes. The goal is permanent change. And permanent change happens when internal confidence shifts. When that happens, external support starts to align and repetition locks it in. Before we move on to the final stretch, I want you to pause this video for a second. And I want you to ask yourself, does my child have at least one place where they feel strong right now in their life? If they don't, then that is the next step for you. If this section has been helpful, if it's helped you think differently about schools, about escalation, about environment, then subscribe to this channel. In the next section, we're going to zoom out and I'm going to share what I've learned from supporting over 20,000 families through this exact transition, the patterns, the mistakes, and what actually predicts long-term success. This is where the perspective that you're going to have is going to deepen. I just released a full no-fluff workshop breaking down everything I know about bullying, the uncomfortable truths, the mistakes that parents make, and the exact 6-step system that has helped thousands of children transition through bullying, the stuff that actually works. So, if your child is being bullied, or you want to make sure they never become a victim of bullying, then watch the full video. Make sure you subscribe, because this is the work that changes your child's life.